Hello all my garden nerds. My name is Amy and I am the Nerdy Urban Gardener. So we are sort of smack dab in the middle of fall right now. Autumn is one of my favorite seasons. I live in New England, so we have gorgeous autumns up here. Today is actually really warm. It's probably in the 70s right now, which is a little warm for this season, but I'm not a huge fan of the winter. So that's the one time of the year that I kind of start to dread. The snow is beautiful while it's falling, but after it's on the ground, it just ends up a hot mess. So not a huge fan of the winter, but what I am a huge fan of in the winter is cooking. I am a huge fan of putting everything in one pot, cooking it and being done. I love just one pot meals. Soups, stews, casseroles. If you can stick it all in one pot and then put it in a bowl to eat, I am good. So it is my favorite time to cook. And one of my favorite things to use when I'm cooking in the fall and the winter is dried beans. I love beans in chilies and soups and rices, anything you can think of, tacos. I love it. And it's so easy to grow and harvest your own beans to dry out for the winter that it's pretty much the only way to do it anymore. So I'm just going to show you really quickly what they look like, how easy it is to grow and dry your own beans for the winter, and it's one easy way to be just a little bit more self-sustained, especially if you're living in an area where you can't necessarily be completely self-sustained. So my favorite bean to grow is the runner bean. I love runner beans because they are vertical climbers. So rather than bush beans, which take up a lot of your square footage, and if you don't have much space to work with, it's not the best usage of your space. So runner beans will climb pretty much anything. These ones are actually on my porch. I had dropped a couple of beans and obviously missed a few because they started growing, so I left them. But they're a great bean to grow. They're super hardy. When you're growing beans to dry and harvest for the winter, it's gonna be a little different than if you're picking them to eat fresh during the summer seasons. You're actually going to wanna let the vine dry out completely. And once everything is kind of crispy like this, you can see it all. That's pretty much when you're gonna wanna start to harvest your beans. So I basically will just pick my beans off and leave them in their pods like this for a little longer. I stick them in a paper bag. I put them all into a dark, dry space in my house for maybe another month. And then I will shell them and store the beans separately. These beans, I'm gonna pull one out so you can see it right here. These beans are beautiful. I love runner beans because they're actually really pretty, and I don't know because it wants to look at my face. There we go. Really pretty beans. These ones are like a pink and white. I love scarlet runners. Those are my favorites, which I didn't unfortunately get a chance to grow this year, but I will be growing some next year because they're like black and purple and they're really cool looking. But any kind of runner beans are really nice, and they're a super hardy bean. They really add a little substance to your soups or your chilies or whatever you're cooking. So basically at this point, I'm just gonna, now that they're all dried out, I'm just gonna be picking all of the beans off of them. If I find any that maybe aren't completely dried out, I will put them in a separate paper bag just so that they don't have, there's not too much moisture getting in there. We don't have to worry about mold. Bean plants actually add a really good amount of nitrogen to your soil too. So after I finish picking the beans, I tend to just leave the bean plants in the ground in my gardens. I'll probably pull them off of whatever they're growing on, but I don't get rid of them or compost them. I usually just leave them right in the garden where they are. I mean, if you compost them, it's gonna go back into your garden eventually anyways, so that doesn't really matter, but I just tend to leave them where they are because it's one less thing for me to have to deal with later. So there you have it. This one wasn't a very long video. It doesn't take a lot to talk about beans. Most people associate growing green beans in the backyard with picking them fresh and eating them while they're still green. people don't really think about the fact that you can dry them out and save them for the winter. And you can actually save the seeds too, save the beans, which are the seeds. You can actually save them and replant some next year. So I will tend to, as I'm shelling these later on next month, I'll take the nicest, biggest, meatiest looking beans, all the ones that look really healthy, and I'll put some to the side and save them so that I can actually grow those ones next year and keep harvesting from them. Again, it's just one more way to be sustainable and to help lessen your footprint. I hope you guys enjoyed this really quick video and it gave you one more idea for what you can do with the things that you grow in your garden. If you're over the green beans for the summer and you want something to do with them, leave them on the vine, let them dry out, and save them for the winter. I hope everybody enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure that you click that like button and also that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. Also, don't forget to plant some comments so that I know what you guys are into, what you like, what you're planting. If you have questions about small space gardening, I would love to answer any of them. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Have a great day.